Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chapter 8 podcast. I'm Grace, and I am coming to you in reference to my book. I want to share a series with you. It's called Missing Pieces, and it was written maybe about 3 years ago, and it's being currently being revised. So I wanted to just talk with you about some of the content that is in the book. I'm going to stay with it. I think it's really, really good content that's in here, and I would like to share it with you. So it's based on the scripture Isaiah 55:2, which is coming from the NIV version. Why spend money on what is not bread and your labor on what does not satisfy? When I wrote this book, there was a lot going on in my life personally. I was in the midst of a major transition, just got divorced and relocated to another state. And, it was just a lot of transition that was going on at that particular time. And what I did, just sitting down, sometimes just reflecting over my life, throughout the course of my lifetime, just thinking and pondering some thoughts. And I thought about how we, as people, but I'm going to speak for women because I can kind of relate to women, is that what we do is sometimes we're chasing the missing pieces in our lives. And whether it could be people, it could be things, it could be places we attach ourselves to until we find that fulfillment. And that fulfillment comes from our destiny, it comes from our purpose, it comes with being in the will of God. So I'm going to share some of the contents in the book. You can, if you want to give me any feedback, we have the website, which is the conversation piece too at gmail.com. I would love to hear from you if you'd like to respond. So the first part that I want to talk about hoarding. And hoarding indicates significant difficulties with discarding belongings. And you know that people that hoard, you go in their homes, they got a million things in the home and things that they haven't used, not going to use, just bought because maybe they're impulsive shoppers, whatever the situation may be. And they have a hard time detaching from things because we feel like, oh, I'm going to need that, or oh, I'm going to wear that, and you haven't worn it in 2 years, you haven't used it in 5 years, but you still have that need to kind to hold on to it and not discard it. So even those with little or no value, which can evolve excessive mental clutter and can also be linked to chaotic life management skills. And sometimes your life, I hear people say, and I know even for myself, I always feel like when I relapse mentally before that relapse happens to me in the natural form. When things get chaotic and everything is all over the place and nothing is in order, I could kind of tell that something is actually going on with me mentally or emotionally because everything is disarray. The word of God says to let all things be done in decency and in order. And I can always tell when maybe my emotional equilibrium or whatever is off. So this can trickle down to every area of a person's life if it's not checked, especially if we don't listen to the still small voice that sounds off the alerts in our hearts and mind. And that's what I was just sharing with you, that when things around me get discombobulated, I can kind of stop and check and evaluate my thoughts and what's going on with me to cause things to be in a disarray. We become lethargic. A seared consciousness is developed in reference to what is right and what is wrong in the moment. We make excuses to justify our right when we know it's not the right thing to do, or that we should simply be doing something else. Hoarding pacifies the inner woes that no one could see. They're private woes, but also public at the same time. It's just that what people are looking at in the natural is like an external forbidden fruit suppressed within us by the defiled root. And what I mean by that is that even though there's something private going on with you eternally, it does become public because people can look around and just see like you're just the mess. They don't know why. They don't know the situation. They don't know the circumstance. And a lot of times we don't neither in the particular moment. So when we do hoard, or we do have shopping addictions, food addictions. We can get addicted to people. We can get addicted to certain places that are forbidden, and we know that we shouldn't be there, but we're there anyway. We're doing things that we shouldn't be doing, and we know deep down in our heart and in our mind we shouldn't do it, but we do it anyway. And that's what I'm speaking about when I talk about the forbidden fruit, knowing that there's some defiled root in there that people can't see, that is hidden down within, which is the root that is defiled. So also, when we attach ourselves to things and people that we cannot detach ourselves from, we become distressed at just the thought of letting go. This is an alert of some type of misalignment, both mentally and physically. The internal man recognizes, which is the spirit mind, that there is something missing. The physical man sees it with the naked eye and ignores it. At that point, our emotional equilibrium is completely off, and we lose a little piece of our original self each time we continue to play the game that we know that we are not winning. It's like playing Russian roulette, which is a deadly game of happenstance where the person inserts a bullet in a gun and spins the cylinder and then pulls the trigger on it. That's how serious it really is. It's designed to destroy lives and stop our destiny in its track. The enemy is not playing the game, he created it, and you better recognize. I want to talk also about emotions. Now, when we misplace our emotions to look for other options to fill the void in our lives, that we become prey to the enemy. That's when we actually become prey to the enemy. This could be in a form of people, places, and things. We tend to gravitate to the things of this world, which is filled with darkness and despair. Most of the time, when we are in our emotions, we don't think before we say or do. Our actions are impulsive, driven by feelings rather than logic. Hoarding holds us close to our feelings. Mentally, our thought patterns are deceiving, causes us to think we are right when we are wrong about the choices that we make and the actions we take. Deception also is in there, plays a part of the whole circle there. Deception trips us up. You know, when I think of deception, I think of a clown. I really do. I know when I was a kid, and you may go to a party or you go out and you see this clown and he really looks stupid. I think the first time, you ever see a clown, you're looking at like, who is this? What is this? You know? And you're looking at one thing, but underneath it's someone else that you can't see. This is what deception does. It exchanges the truth for a lie. The enemy will oftentimes bait us into believing the lie. This is what Satan did to Eve in the garden, guys. She caught STD. Okay, she had social intercourse with the serpent when he seduced her with the hanging fruit from the tree that was forbidden by God. The consequences were the social intercourse. I call it STD. You know, when you go to the gynecologist and they talk about sexual transmitted disease, that's the physical side. But there's a social transmitted disease as well. That's why we have to be careful. People that we fellowship with, people that have our ear, you got to watch your ear gate, you have to watch your eye gate. But most importantly, it is very important. A lot of times people want to go out, everybody wants to go out and eat. Let's get together. Let's go out and eat. Let's get together, and you can sit down and you can have a conversation with a person. You don't really know too much of their background, where their heart is. And I know for myself, for years, entertainment was a form of me sitting down and sharing my business. We go out to dinner and I'll just spill everything, and you get someone else's opinion, or not that you're even asking for it, but people are very quick to share their thoughts or their opinion about any given situation or circumstance. And then you become confused because you pick up what they're saying, you go home, you ponder it and you think about it, and now you're all confused. But I don't want to elaborate too much on that, but I just want to share that that is an area that we really need to be conscious of, that social intercourse that we have with people, because it is an exchange. There is an exchange there. Whether you like it or not, it is an exchange that's being transmitted between the two of you in conversation. This disease was transferred to everyone that came forward afterwards. Hoarding caused us to believe that we need things and people for all the wrong reasons when we really don't. When our emotions are consumed with a lack of love, acceptance, rejection, and low self-esteem, what happens is we build invisible walls. You can't taste it, you can't feel it, you can't see it. It also causes us to be on the defense about everything and everyone. When God is our defense, His word says that He is the restorer of the breach. Psalms 94:22 in the King James Version, but the Lord is my defense, my God. He is the rock of my refuge. So next week, I'm going to share, I got some really good content and revelation that the Lord has given me. I'm going to go into the examples. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. I'm going to talk about relationships and how we hoard people in our lives and the different ways that we go about doing that. So until we meet again, I want to thank you so much for listening, and I thank God for the contents of this message. Have a good day.